I think people of faith and all people, period, can find in President Obama one of the remarkable examples of what it means to live and thrive in a democratic society. The meaning of democracy, think about it. If you go from the standpoint of an African American from 1619 to 2008, here you have a journey of almost 400 years of struggle, slavery, Reconstruction, post-Reconstruction, the civil rights movement, which is still going on. That moment in 2008, when President Obama was pronounced the winner, was the fulfillment of a long struggle to realize democracy at its highest and best. Democracy has to be reaffirmed in every election. There are no off-year elections. And we have to constantly develop a culture of voting, not just every 4 years, but it has to happen really 365 days a year. We have to be engaged in voter registration, voter education, and voter participation. That's a lifelong journey. And whenever we slightly relax, we lose yardage on the field. And that happened in 2010. It cannot happen in 2012. We must not allow it to happen. To vote is powerful. One vote can change an election, so we can never underestimate the power of a single vote. That's why the faith community has to be engaged in preaching the gospel and practicing the gospel. And one great way of practicing the gospel is help someone to vote. For then we are engaged in social redemption and the continuation of democracy from generation to generation. With reference to what we call and know to be voter suppression, voter ID laws, and the restricting of voter registration and early voting opportunities. As one who participated in the Selma to Montgomery March, as one who fought for access to the ballot, I think it is a tragedy to have these unnecessary restrictions imposed for no other reason but to reduce voter participation rather than increase voter participation, which is really against democracy. The people who enact these laws are really bringing into our body politic slavery by another name. Dr. King said, if I do not have access to the ballot, I cannot make up my mind. Someone else makes up my mind for me. Voter restriction is undemocratic. Voter restriction and the denial of access to the ballot, the closing of the booths at critical times, like in my state of Ohio, 8 to 5. Well, what are you going to do about people who work long hours? If we can keep shopping centers open, long hours to get people's money, why can't we keep the voting places open longer hours to get participation to build a better country? That is not just happening in Alabama and Florida and Georgia and Mississippi. It's happening all over the nation, and I see that as a great threat and a great tragedy, and we must stand against this. We must teach our children, colleges and universities and sororities and fraternities and lodges and political parties and churches and all institutions need to unite against this horrible voter suppression movement that's taking place across the nation, north and south, east and west. The faith community has a great responsibility, and I'm pleased to say that the faith community is responding to that. For instance, in Ohio and in other places, we're talking about souls to the polls. At the conclusion of worship services, loading up buses, and we did that in times past, and transporting people for voter registration or for early voting. Now, with these restricting laws, that is made more difficult, but we must even make our efforts more intensified. We cannot give up. We need more of it, and we're doing it with very limited resources, whereas those who are enacting these voter suppression laws have what appears to be unlimited financial resources to do what is wrong. We have limited financial resources to do what is right, but right makes might.